This is Twizzy Digital, and today we're going to talk about what it's like being a Sonic fan. Before we get started, I just want to say happy birthday or belated birthday to my boy Sonic. Yeah, it may seem corny to you non-Sonic fans that I'm celebrating a birthday to a fictional character, but I don't care. This character means a lot to me on a level that you won't understand, so miss me with that. Also, I wanted to work on this video because I noticed a few Sonic channels were discussing this topic, and I wanted to chime in on that as well. So thanks to channels like Sam Candles, Chow Mix, and Sam Procrastinate, and there's probably other channels that I haven't mentioned, but I just want to particularly thank those channels for inspiring me to make this video. Now, on to the topic. So, I've been a Sonic fan since I was a young boy. My parents bought me Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it blew me away. I loved the speed of the game, and the flowiness of it, and just how unique it was. Especially because I was playing games like Mario, Mega Man, and I can't think of any other games, but I just love how different but also flowy it felt playing it. So, because of that game, my parents, I don't know if they bought it or they just had it, but they gave me Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 3. Played those games, I loved it, and from there on, it was history. Interestingly, it was until Sonic Adventure 1 on the Dreamcast that made me a fan of the series. Now, I've heard and read other folks' journey as a fan, and I gotta say mine is kind of different, so I'll break it down to you in school ranges, like elementary, middle school, high, etc. Elementary was the sweet life of playing Sonic games, having all sorts of imagination, making up stories, and using those stories while playing with toys. Being a Sonic fan around that age was paradise. Kids knew I was a Sonic fan even at the start of first grade, where we used to do show and tells, and I would bring Sonic merch like toys and stuff, and just talk about Sonic and gush over him. To even later, like me drawing him in class, and people would just pick up on it. I don't recall anyone harassing me about it. Even so, I pretty much kept him to myself. During middle school, I was a lot more low-key about being a Sonic fan. I didn't play with toys much, but I was still having imaginations and story ideas and everything. And also there was still dope games coming out around that point. But I still kept it low-key. I do recall there was a girl I dated. And also, don't get your hopes up because it didn't fare well. I say it lasted for 3 days. I just remember on the second day where she asked me what makes me happy. Me being awkward. I gushed about Sonic to her and she cringed. And you could tell she tried to keep it together, and I didn't pick up on it that she was trying to keep it together. But the next day, I saw her in the cafeteria, the table with other dudes. I tried to speak to her and say if it was okay or it was still, a thing. And she basically gave me the roundabout saying no, and basically told me I was weird and stuff. I don't want to go further into that, but that crushed my little heart. But it didn't last long because you're young and dumb and under the distraction. So I got distracted easily and I moved on quickly. But yeah, middle school, I was a lot more low key about it. Oh, and to add on, around middle school, I was also branching off from Sonic. I still love Sonic, but I was kind of branching off from it because I was playing other games, and then life struggles occur around middle school. High school, I barely talked about Sonic. I barely had story ideas. This is around the point where I'm a lot more distracted from other stuff. And high school, me trying to find myself. I found my friend group. I was playing different games like 2K, GTA, Call of Duty. Um, if I play Sonic games, it'd probably be like prior Sonic games. But this doesn't help that this is around the year where Sonic Lost World and Boom came out, and I was not vibing with those games at all. I'll talk more in depth about those games later. But yeah, at that point, I was wondering if I was falling off of Sonic, or if Sega was the one fumbling the bag with the franchise. So yeah, high school, low key, but more on just me just distracted of other stuff and less on Sonic. But I still love Sonic around that point. Now, we're at college. And this is where it gets interesting. During this point, I was more online looking for Sonic stuff because it felt like we were in a drought. But really, I just didn't consider Sonic Boom and Lost World a game that filled my needs. And like I said, I'll talk about those games one day. And although I like Sonic Generation, I feel like it was missing something to me. But I'll talk about that another day. While I was online, I was watching Sonic channels to get involved with Sonic. But by doing so, I've gotten into the territory of reading a lot of Sonic comments, watching a lot of Sonic videos. Some were old that I missed back then, and some were around that point. And if I haven't said it before, prior to college, I only watched Sonic Let's Plays here and there, like Cabana Man 456. I'm butchering his name wrong, my bad. If I watch anything that was if I see anything that was negative about Sonic, I turned away immediately from it and just leave it. So when 2016 came and I seen that stuff, it was like my first time witnessing the negativity and how people think about Sonic. Being my first time getting this involved with online Sonic stuff, I've learned a lot about the fan base and how people perceive Sonic. And I can say I was not a fan of what I've learned, and it made me hate the fans and the folks who criticize Sonic, and it made me hate Sega. Additionally, Sonic Forces and Mania was coming out, and I had to know everything about that game, which dug me further into fandom madness. I can say that this is the point where things start to spiral down. Sonic Forces dropped, and it was meh, and at that point I was sick of meh games. Sonic Mania was great, but it felt like an appetizer. Sonic Team Racing was meh, and I just couldn't take it. I was low-key in a depressed state for Sonic, because the games weren't hitting. Also, around that point, I had folks around me, some were friends, cracking jokes about Sonic and hating on him, and it was getting real hard to defend my boy. Meanwhile, Nintendo games like Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild was getting much love, and it almost converted me to become a Nintendo fanboy. You know that meme of Squidward inside his room, looking out in the window and seeing SpongeBob and Patrick running around outside happy and stuff? That's how I felt as me as a Sonic fan, looking at everybody else who's enjoying their franchises and their games and stuff. More videos on trashing Sonic kept popping up, and some of them were even from Sonic channels or Sonic fans. It was rough. That was 2016 to 2020 was my rough phase of being a Sonic fan. You may be wondering why I didn't include 2013 and onward. Well, even with Sonic Lost World and Boom being a game that didn't fit my needs, I was distracted with playing other Call of Duty, 2K, GTA, and just hanging out with friends and stuff, so I was distracted. So I let those years pass. Things started to look bright around 2020. The Sonic movie came out, and it was amazing, which sparked that excitement back for the franchise. Even though no games came out around that time, it brought back that fate for the series. Around this point, my bad if I keep saying point, by the way, but around this point, I was back in school for my batch, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 came out, and that was also dope. When Sonic Frontiers was making its waves online, I was excited. I didn't even care about the folks downplaying it before it released because the marketing and everything, such as the trailers and gameplays and stuff, convinced me that it was going to be a good game. And that it seemed that Sonic Team was going all in on the game. Something that doesn't happen prior to this point, besides Sonic Unleashed. When Sonic Frontiers dropped, I damn near cried because of everything I asked for, everything I wanted in a Sonic game is what I got. It made up for all them rough years of being a fan of the Blue Blur. The update solidified it for me that Sonic was in a better place moving forward. I hope. And yeah, I know, the game ain't perfect, but A, I just wanted a Sonic game that felt like an actual game. And B, it was a stepping point for the right direction, and I'm all here for it. Plus, seeing Sonic and Shadow Generation looks great, and I can't wait for that. I'll talk about that later once it drops. Overall, as I look back at it, my journey was pretty good actually. Even though it had them rough years, I'm just glad where Sonic is at is on the right track, and I look forward to see what comes next. I do have more to say, such as my views in the fan base and my hot takes, but the video's getting pretty long, so I'll just save it for another time. If you guys have anything you want to say or tell me about your journey of being a Sonic fan, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to chat about it and see what everybody's story and inputs are. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Adios. Oh, before you leave, you should check out our comic lunch break on Webtoons or our Instagram. Link is in the description.